Hello and a very warm welcome to World This Week by Latest Laws. This is our weekly program, so subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified. My name is Monica Rahar and let's get started by having a look at Supreme Court this week. A petition has been filed before the Supreme Court which is sought timely and also transparent appointment of information commissioners in the Central Information Commission under the Right to Information Act 2005. The apex court is to decide if students are consumers and universities are service providers under the Consumer Protection Act. In a very decade-old property dispute worth Rs 25,000 crore which belongs to or which belonged to Faridkot's late Maharaja, the Supreme Court has allowed caretaker Mehrawal Khewaji Trust to operate its bank accounts for the payment of salaries to its employees. Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay, a member of the BJP, has sought direction in a plea before the Supreme Court to transfer all pending petitions which pertain to uniform minimum age of marriage for men and women before various high courts to the apex court. The apex court has held that a contract of insurance is of utmost good faith and a proposer who seeks to obtain life insurance policy is duty bound to disclose all material facts which have bearing upon the issue. The top court, while confirming the punishment awarded to a man who was found guilty of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl in Tamil Nadu, has held that, barring serious exceptions, the evidence of the victim of sexual assault is enough for conviction. The court has set aside a July order of the Bombay High Court and has allowed a person who was accused in a cheating and forgery case to travel to the US. The court has stated that serious consequences would ensue in terms of the invalidation of the green card if he is not permitted to travel. The apex court has sought to know from Attorney General K.K. Venugopal whether a gag order can be issued against all high courts and trial courts from commenting anything that trivializes the incident or harms the woman's dignity while dealing with sexual assault cases. Now let's proceed to the next segment of our news analysis and have a look at Delhi High Court this week. A PIL has been moved in the Delhi High Court and it has sought direction to the centre and also to others to grant monthly paid leaves to all women employees, including daily wage, contractual or outsourced workers, during their menstruation period. The High Court intends to bring to an end the blanket order of extending interim bail to prisoners in Delhi after the government informed it that there are only 3 inmates who are affected or infected by COVID-19 and they are also provided access to relevant medical facilities. Making an observation that 150 judicial officers are due to be posted in the next couple of months, the High Court has directed the Delhi government to release the required sum of Rs 2.52 crores from its budget to the district court without any delay. While setting aside a session court order, the High Court has allowed Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia to access statement of one of the witnesses in a case which is related to alleged assault on former Chief Secretary Anshu Prakash in 2018. The High Court has refused to provide relief to a group of students from Utkal University who have alleged that there was arbitrariness in an inter-college moot court competition which was organized by the National Law University, Delhi. The High Court is to examine the legality of Delhi University's decision to charge Rs 750 for issuance of digital degrees. Now let's proceed to the Bombay High Court and have a look at what transpired before the court this week. Many farmers were being denied access to loans by banks until they made payment of the interest on the loans which they took previously. So when the matter reached the Bombay High Court, in a huge relief for the farmers, directed the banks to release the loan amount. The court has also restricted banks from demanding such interest and also to refund the interest which has already been paid. The High Court has allowed Jain temples to reopen their dining halls in Mumbai to serve special food or lunch for Ayambil Oli Tav, which is a traditional Jain festival. The court, however, has clarified that the temple will not be open for devotees and all the standards COVID-19 precautionary measures are to be taken care of. The High Court has suspended the 3-month sentence which was awarded to Maharashtra Cabinet Minister Yashomati Thakur for allegedly assaulting a policeman in Amravati district in 2012. The court has granted ad interim relief to Parle by issuing injunctions to the Future Group for copying the biscuit packaging. Now let's proceed to the Allahabad High Court. The High Court has asked the Secondary Education Selection Board on whether the candidates will be technically included in the interview or not in the case of LT Grade Assistant Teacher Recruitment 2016. Now let's have a look at Punjab and Haryana High Court this week. The High Court has upheld the provisions of Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016 as well as the Haryana Real Estate Regulation and Development Rules 2017. Some provisions of the RERA law and rules which were framed by the state were under challenge in a bunch of petitions, mainly from the developers. Similarly, while looking at the eventuality or the possibility of having provisions contradictory between RERA and the Consumer Protection Act, the court has held that parallel or simultaneous remedies can be sought under RERA and Consumer Protection Act. Now let's proceed with the Uttarakhand High Court. The High Court has sought Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari's response on a petition for starting contempt proceedings against him for his failure to follow a court order to pay the market rent for a government bungalow which was allotted to him in his capacity as the CM of the Uttarakhand then. Now let's move on to the Madhya Pradesh High Court. The High Court has ordered filing of cases against Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar and former Chief Minister Kamal Nath for allegedly violating COVID-19 protocols. Now let's proceed with the miscellaneous segment of our news analysis. According to the Election Commission, officials have made record seizures worth Rs 35.26 crore as part of the expenditure monitoring process during the Bihar elections 2020. On an issue related to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, India has told the United Nations Human Rights Council that violations of law cannot be condoned under the pretext of human rights. Sessions Court in Patiala House Court Complex has dismissed bail plea of freelance journalist Rajiv Sharma, who was accused of espionage under the Official Secrets Act in a case registered by Delhi Police's Special Cell. The Bar Council of India has postponed the All India Bar examination and the exam is now to be conducted on January 24th. The online registration for the same has also been extended till 3rd of December 2020. A special NDPS court has extended Shovik Chakravarti's custody till November 3. A Delhi court has directed the Tihar jail authorities to provide adequate safety and security in prison to Umar Khalid, who was arrested under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. A special court in Thane district of Maharashtra has decided to hear on November 3 the bail applications filed by 101 accused, that is 101 accused in the Palgad mob lynching case in which 3 persons were killed. After allowing all women to travel in local trains, the Maharashtra government has allowed lawyers practicing in courts within the Mumbai metropolitan region and their registered clerks to travel in suburban local trains. Amazon has expressed its inability to appear before the Parliament Committee, says officials are unable to travel to India. Now let's proceed with the last segment of our news analysis, which is the international news. Facebook has activated its oversight board, which was also dubbed as the Supreme Court for the social networking site by its CEO. Now, if we talk about the oversight board, then it can be termed as the body that makes content moderation decisions for Facebook, especially about handling appeals for the content which has been blocked or removed by the site. France has led a nation tribute to the school teacher who was beheaded after showing caricatures of Prophet Muhammad in his class as part of a lesson on free speech. The US Supreme Court has agreed to decide legality of President Trump's immigration policies that have forced tens of thousands of migrants along the southern border to wait in Mexico rather than entering the US while their asylum claims are being processed. Demonstrators have gathered in Washington, D.C. and several other U.S. cities on Saturday for the second Women's March of the year to protest against Donald Trump's nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court and urge women to vote in the upcoming elections. The Standing Committee of China's Congress has passed an amendment to a law that will criminalize the intention insulting of the national flag and emblem after the anti-government protest in Hong Kong last year disrespected the Chinese flag. That's all we have for this week. The links to all these news updates can be accessible in the description box. Thank you for being with us.